Welcome back to Sims Complete. I'm your host, Matt Sims, along with Phil Sims, and this is Sims Complete podcast brought to you by the Believe Sports Network. We're sponsored by FanDuel. Big guy, let's get into it. We had a great weekend of football, college football, pro football. It was definitely an exciting weekend. Let's start our conversation, though, with last night's game. Oh. And last night's game, I thought was a super fun watch, right? The Denver Broncos taking on the Washington Commanders, two teams that are on the opposite ends of the win column spectrum. And, we were thinking, hey, this is an easy win for the Denver Broncos. Not so fast. The Washington Commanders played extremely tough in this game. And just want to get your initial thoughts about the game. Talk to us about Marcus Mariota, how he looked in your eyes, and just how overall the Commanders managed this football game.
Well, he did a great job. Anytime you think it's going to be an easy game in the NFL, I would just say this: you are mistaken big time. I mean, it's unbelievable. The top to the bottom, literally the best team in the NFL can get beat by the worst team. Maybe not, 10% of the time, whatever. That's just what the league is. It was fun to watch. Marcus Mariota, once again, just like he did last year and like he's doing this year, he's really playing the position really, really well. Tough, taking hits, making throws down the field. All the times they need him to come through, he did. So that was just on that side. It tells you, if you think you got a good team, we're going to do this later. The Commanders have a big-time backup quarterback that can win games for you.
Right.
And, there's certain teams we'll talk about, like I said, a little later in the program here, that do not have the backup quarterback that gives them any chance to win. And what you have there is going to destroy your football team and your season.
Zach Ertz was phenomenal in this football game. Terry McLaurin came up clutch late in the football game as well with his touchdown there towards the end, especially in overtime, But yeah, I think Marcus Mariota, despite having an ugly interception early on in the football game, hey, that was one of those plays. I'm not sure what he was trying to do, maybe trying to get rid of the football. Dre Greenlaw comes up with the interception, but he played so well throughout the rest of the game that we really did forget about that one errant throw that he had early on. I thought Cliff Kingsbury did a great job with this game plan. Mm-hmm. It seemed like they did a great job of keeping Vance Joseph off balance. The four-man rush for the Denver Broncos was not as effective. And I think they did play a little careful, too, by not sending too many pressures because Marcus Mariota was doing a great job of getting the football out quickly and playing decisively. And Dan Quinn and the boys were ready to go. This was definitely a game where I feel like Dan Quinn showed why it's so important for the culture and the attitude of the team to continue to fight despite their record not being exactly what they want. Now let's flip to the other side. Your thoughts about Bo Nix, Sean Payton, and again, just kind of putting together a gritty type of win offensively for them, despite it having some of its hiccups throughout the game.
Well, like always, I thought Denver, Sean Payton and the quarterback, they're just relentless.
Right.
They are truly, it's said too much. They are not afraid of anything. They're the ones pushing. They're not getting pushed back. That's for sure. They're always aggressive. And I thought Chris Collinsworth made a few good things I didn't know. Bo Nix's father, what he said to him, don't take a sack, because I forgot the end of that phrase, but it made so much sense. And Bo Nix, when you look at his stats sometimes, just be careful how you look at stats.
Right.
Because he's thrown away, it seemed like he threw away like 10 footballs in the game last night.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty safe to say. It did seem like it was almost about 10.
Yeah. And, the other thing is, too, you said it about, Coach Dan Quinn, almost forgot his name, talked about Dan Quinn and who they are and what they want to be and what they continue to do, even though the season is lost for them. And the word culture comes up. And I just love that. People throw it around like nothing, but it's hard to create. And there's so many things to it. What is it? It's a lot of stuff. I think first and foremost, it's the head coach. Is he the guy that delivers the message that's stern? Here's what we must do to give ourselves a chance to win. And is the leader and of the team and the guys. And I always say this to you, Matt, when the head coach walks in the room, you should feel it right away that, okay, what's he going to do today? How's he going to treat us? He's the man, and you got to be tough. You got to work hard, all those things. I can't even describe culture. I just know what it is because I've been in it. And Dan Quinn's got it. And we know Sean Payton does too.
Yeah, we absolutely know that too. And, it is just a credit to just like, what they're building there in Washington, despite how it's been tough this year. And, there's moments in the game too where you just see that, yeah, they are a little bit slow and maybe, have a few positions that they don't have the advantage in. Bobby Wagner, for all the great things that he does in stopping the run and being a great leader, Bobby Wagner was exposed in overtime when they match up Evan Ingram on that little whip route underneath in that zone coverage where it's like Bobby Wagner has to cover him as that middle linebacker, and they had the right call at the right time. That's a credit to Sean Payton. Eventually, I feel like on the offensive side, Sean's going to get you eventually, right? There's only so many ways that you can kind of trick this offense. I think, like you said, Bo Nix did a great job of just taking what the defense gives him. Yeah. He does a great job of moving. Sometimes I think he maybe moves a little too suddenly, too aggressively, but either way, the guy trusts his instincts, makes some big time throws, the touchdown throw on the move there, moving up in the pocket while he's falling down. Just an unbelievable athletic throw there. And you could see too, like Evan Ingram had a great game, 6 for 79. Cortland Sutton, Pat Bryant had a big catch late in the football game. And we're seeing the balance of this team kind of come together despite their defense, quote unquote, struggling to get after the passer consistently in this one. Only had 2 sacks. Bonito had 1, Tillman had the other. But man, what a play by Bonito there in overtime to time up that pass breakup. Yeah. Because that was the perfect call by Cliff Kingsbury and the Washington Commanders in that moment.
I think a little bit just to kind of finish this game is that, as you watch it, you look at what Sean Payton has tried to do, Bo Nix being so aggressive. I think, too, go back and let's just remember the draft. He's so much more mobile than everybody thought. His arm is much stronger, and I'm not going to say it's elite NFL arm, but damn, it's pretty close. I mean, He throws a lot of, strikes right down the middle to the receivers, and his movement has been tremendous. And they just kind of play the game that they don't think about making mistakes. And the other thing about the pass rush, Matt, the field was really slow and tough for guys making, I think, the kind of moves you need sometimes to rush the passer. They didn't have that. I think the field had something to do with it. And I'm going to give credit to Washington, too, because they did their job.
Yeah, Denver again too, just showing off just the depth they have on defense. Hufanga was all over the place. Jalen McMillan made some big time plays in the slot. Jahdae Barron popped up in coverage as well. Pat Surtain, of course. So it really did take everything right for this team to get the win. And again, that defense coming up clutch there in the late minute there. Let's transition now to another surprise game and kind of more towards the quarterback for this conversation, right? Of just Bryce Young. His performance for the Carolina Panthers, they get a 31-28 victory over the Los Angeles Rams. They're 4-2 at home. And Bryce Young, 15 of 20, 206, 3 touchdowns. Had a beautiful throw to Jalen Coker late in the football game that really put them over the top. Big guy, your thoughts on just Coach Canales, the Carolina Panthers, right there at the top of the division there in the NFC South with the Bucs?
Well, a couple things we found out. That they got the right coach, that's for sure. It seems like he's got great control of the football team. He's an offensive guy. I love what they do on the offensive side, and they got their quarterback. I think at this time last year, I just was going, man, Bryce Young's just not the guy. It's just not going to work out. And then he's had many of these games, Matt, like he did against the Rams. It's like they go home, and all of a sudden they turn into a different team. You said 4-2, but it's the teams they beat also. And so I give a lot of credit to the head coach, the culture he is getting there in Carolina, and, of course, the quarterback too. Bryce Young is a beautiful touch thrower. He's not going to rear back and throw a missile at somebody, but he can make all the throws. His movement is really good, and they've kind of fitted together. Now they got the offense that really fits Bryce Young, who he is, and it's working really well. And he's probably going to get, I don't know how it works, but he might get a big contract this offseason, that's for sure.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But you're right. It is the youth movement, I feel like, of this Carolina Panthers team, right? Guys like Lathan Ransom, at safety, young man of Ohio State, seems to be leading them in tackles each and every week defensively. Had a sack as well to go with his 11 total tackles, a tackle for a loss. And also, too, just the plays by the secondary. They're in the low red zone, forcing that tip pass on Matthew Stafford's pass, which is probably going to be a touchdown there. It gets tipped up in the air. Nick Scott gets the interception there. A quick sudden change for the Carolina Panthers there in the low red zone. And then Mike Jackson, his read on Puka Nakua's route. He sat at the sticks. He wasn't afraid about Puka Nakua running by him and did a great job sitting on the route, driving underneath him, making that interception, and then taking it to the house. So the Carolina Panthers with their young guys of McMillan and Coker. I mean, second-year men at a Holy Cross making big-time plays towards the end there. The Carolina Panthers got a lot of good things going for them. And despite all that, still feel really good about the Los Angeles Rams in the loss, oddly enough.
Yeah, I'm not like going, oh, my gosh, how did the Rams lose this game?
Right.
That never crossed my mind. I think the big thing is I got a chance to – I watched it maybe live about half of it. And what kind of caught my attention, I go, oh, wow, listen to the crowd. I don't know if I've heard the crowd noise in Carolina. Now, that's just another thing. There's nothing like running out on the stadium before the game and every seat in the house is taken. It wasn't quite that way yesterday, but it was still a very good crowd, especially after Thanksgiving. And that's something, too, to get the community, the town, the fans, all that behind them. And that just adds to who you are. And literally, I think, true, too, when you talk about situations like that, it helps the football team. So Carolina, big surprises this year. Man, Rams, Cowboys, it's not that they're beating them. They're like, it's like they're really they're just dominating the game in a certain way. They've done it against both of them. Yeah.
They are. Yeah. And you can see guys like Robinson in the interior. They're disruptive. They play hard. They got a good mix right now. And man, they're catching kind of, an uplift here late in the year where it's exactly where you need to, where even though Tampa Bay wins at home against Arizona, not so sure I kind of feel the same way about Tampa Bay as I do about Carolina right now, but Tampa Bay on their way to getting back and a little bit healthier on the offensive side. So that'll pay off for them as they kind of close out the season. And I believe those two teams meet twice here to end the year to see who will win that division. So that'll be a really fun one to keep an eye on. Let's also now.
Let me finish real quick, man.
Go ahead, big guy.
Watching it, Tampa Bay has weathered the storm.
Right.
Your good teams are going to do that. They're going to play well, and then they're going to go to a 3-game, 4-game, to whatever it is, stretch where it just doesn't go the way we want it to go and what we think of them. And I think that was a tough victory for them yesterday. And Tampa Bay's got to – watching Baker Mayfield's interview, he kind of said the same thing. And I think it's really true that now they've settled back down. We're going to see the best of them the rest of the season, I think.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a great sign for them just because of how well they started the season and then kind of went through that little hiccup and now kind of getting their breath back. So now let's go to another interesting situation quarterback wise. Just, want to get your thoughts on the Cleveland Browns, Shador Sanders, and their performance this past weekend. They made it tough on the San Francisco 49ers. They really did. I mean, the Jim Schwartz, Kyle Shanahan matchup continues, right, where it's not the easiest matchup for Kyle Shanahan to navigate. I think the 49ers did a good job of just kind of playing clean football and just kind of kept leaning on the Browns and saying that, all right, the rookie QB is not going to be able to beat us if we just play solid on the back end and really just error-free on offense.
Well, it's funny. When the game is over, I saw Jim Schwartz talking to Kyle Shanahan. They talked a long time. So,
right.
You said it right. It's a good rivalry or however you want to do it. Match up when they play each other. I thought early in the game, Cleveland was the more physical team. They were running the ball well. They were giving Shador protection that he needed. But you said it right. The 49ers just kind of kept marching forward, and all of a sudden, you think, man, they could lose this game. And I like the play calling that Kevin Stefanski did for Shador. A lot of screens, a lot of quick throws.
Yep.
The only thing I would have liked, block it up and let Shador throw it down the field a little more.
Right.
Now, he's only going to do it if he gets protection, if he thinks I thought his decision-making was very, very careful. Never took one chance in the game. And they need to find ways to give him plays where he's going to throw it deep down the field. To me, that's the best thing he does, Matt.
Right.
Deep throws down the field, all the short stuff, the timing routes, everything like that. They're not there yet. I think they threw. I counted all the screens they threw, the quick throws, the tight end delay, all this. They had it all in. It was quite a few throws. But I think at Cleveland, Shador is going to be the quarterback going forward. They got to be more aggressive with the play design.
I think it's a great point, big guy, because even in his college career, it's not like he was known as a guy that was getting through his reads quickly and getting the football out of his hands super fast. It was about just the longer developing plays down the field. It was about him creating outside of the plays and kind of making some stuff happen with his feet. We saw that a little bit last week against the Raiders. Yesterday, we saw him with the screen game, like you mentioned. Showed some good durability and movement in the pocket again, right? But just not many opportunities. And of course, the Cleveland Browns had 4 fumbles on the day. They only lost 2 of them. One of them was Harold Fannin, lining up the quarterback position to run their version of the tush push. He fumbles the snap. They capitalize on that short field. So, just good win for the San Francisco 49ers. Brock Purdy played solid. And like you mentioned earlier, Quinshon Judkins, man, super impressed by this rookie running back. 23 carries for 91 yards, had a long of 17 in the football game. He is a really good football player, and you're right. He's going to be a big piece for them going forward on this roster.
Yeah, I thought, like I said earlier, I thought the offensive line, I was like, wow, what a difference in Cleveland's offensive line. And they were pushing, I thought, San Francisco around. And all they needed was that play or two to really turn it and make the game differently. That never happened. I think Shador, too, look, I know he's only been on the field a little bit, but there are pre-snap reads that are absolutely 100% telling you what's going to happen with the defense.
Right.
And those reads would have put him to number 1 outside, to the slot guy, number 2, just making examples of that. And one of them is going to be wide open because the way the defense has set itself before the snap.
Right.
I think that can be, people go, oh, that takes time. No, it doesn't. It's just the coach going, look, they give us this look, read it 1-2. And there were sometimes he looked to the right when the receiver to the left was one-on-one, wide open. That didn't happen. But again, overall, it doesn't bother me at all. I think they're on the right way, the right step. And we'll see how they build this for Shador, really, as time goes on.
Yeah. So now that's all for that game. Let's go over to another interesting quarterback situation. And oddly enough, for this quarterback situation, they saw the guy that they let walk out the door a few months earlier on the opposite side. And, he didn't have to do much because the other quarterback did it all for them, but in a negative way. This is the Vikings game against the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks win the game 26-0, improving to 9-3 on the season, 4-2 at home. The Vikings now 4-8. And of course, the struggles on offense. Max Brosner gets the start in this football game, goes 19 of 30, throws 4 interceptions, 1 for a pick 6. Ernest Jones gets 2 of those interceptions. He's the one that returned the pick 6 early in the football game for the Seattle Seahawks. Big guy, I don't know. How did the Vikings get this so wrong with this offseason, with everything that they had going for them last year? Just the momentum that they had. Of course, it all fell apart there at the end. We think it's all Sam Darnold's fault. All right, they move on from Sam Darnold. That move has absolutely just not worked out well for them this season.
Well, a couple things. First and foremost, I know I hear a lot of people talking about it and all that. I'm not sure Kevin O'Connell had the opportunity to make that decision by himself. I'm sure there was people in the front office, the general manager, whatever it is, all talking about, look, we drafted the guy number 1. He's got to be the guy.
Right.
So you let Sam Darnold walk out. Even, yes, the last 2 games were bad when he played for the Vikings, but overall it was a fantastic year. And he's having great moments out there in Seattle too. And forget all that. I think they wanted to keep Daniel Jones, but Daniel Jones got a much better offer down in Indianapolis, money-wise, and you're going to be the starter most likely. I don't know if he could have been the starter with the Minnesota Vikings right away because they want their number 1 pick to do it. And, man, it's rough. I don't even know what to say. But my point being, I lose my train of thought too much because I got so much in his head. But when you got a good football team, you got to back it up with a good, solid backup quarterback. You can't go with Brosner with no NFL snaps, basically, and he's now going to take over a team that we thought was a playoff team, maybe even Super Bowl caliber, and look where it is. So I went down all the starting quarterbacks and backups, Matt, and I was lenient, but there were about 8 teams that if they lose their starter, they're not going to win a game.
Right.
So why? I don't know they do that, but they do.
Yeah, and because of this move, right, you have Justin Jefferson, who is, arguably one of the best receivers in the NFL, 2 catches for 4 yards in this matchup, right? Targeted 6 times, but yeah, only comes away with 2 because of the ineffectiveness of the passing game. All right, now the Seattle Seahawks can tee off on the running game and some of the other stuff that they were doing. So really just couldn't even get off the ground in this football game to start. And, Sam Darnold, clean ball game because he really didn't have to do much. Just, hey, don't turn it over. Don't lose the football game. It really was about the defense. Ernest Jones, like I mentioned earlier, had a phenomenal football game. 12 total tackles on the day, his 2 interceptions. Reek Wolin also had an interception. Kobe Bryant added another one to make it 4 for the whole group. Nick Manwari also played fantastic. Drake Thomas. So the depth of this defense really showed up, and they took advantage of a young quarterback that was, unfortunately put in a very difficult situation on the road against one of the better defenses in the league. And the Seattle Seahawks did not disappoint.
Man, that was the worst case scenario you could ever dream and get if you're the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
Backup quarterback making his first start against a really good team, as you said, and an offense with the Minnesota Vikings is definitely not even up where they think it should be. And I will say this about Justin Jefferson, the receiving core with the Minnesota Vikings. Man, I don't know how you hung in there this long and before you just let it be known. We got to do something to get us the ball. And it's been rough and tough. And I would just say to them, brace yourself. I don't see it getting better here right away.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's get to another quarterback situation that's now on the total opposite end of the spectrum. And it's, again, just a reminder to us how important coaching is. The Bears, 24-15 over the Philadelphia Eagles there Friday after Thanksgiving, the Black Friday football game. Caleb Williams, 17-36 for 154, a touchdown and interception. Missed a few throws in this football game, but you still see that, damn, he can make a lot of good throws too at the same time. I think, though, the star of the game and the star of the show is the mind of Ben Johnson, the creativity in the running game, and our boy, Mr. New Jersey himself, Kyle Monangai, along with DeAndre Swift, totaling for essentially 281 yards on the ground between the two guys, right? Monangai with 22 carries for 130 and a touchdown. DeAndre Swift with 18 for 125 and a touchdown. Big guy, your thoughts about the Chicago Bears, what Ben Johnson has done here, just past the midway point of year 1.
Okay, many things I want to say about this. When Ben Johnson was hired, everybody thought this was going to be high flying, lots of trick plays, do this, that, whatever. And what we have found out, it is line up and we're going to smack you in the face. And that's how we're going to play. And it's who they are. They are turning into a tough football team. Too, early in the year, I forgot what week it was. And maybe I've said this story already, but I remember they're playing the Washington Commanders. The game is on the line. And I keep thinking, as they're doing the drive, man, you make a throw, you got to do something. And they kept running the football. And he was basically telling everybody, hey, look, we're tough and we're going to get the yards we need here, pick up first downs and kick the damn game-winning field goal. I can't remember how the game ended, but I know they won.
Yeah.
So, and we're seeing that. And, Caleb Williams, overall, he's the man for this job. When you can run it, it frees him up. And now he can even be more dangerous running the ball and throwing the ball. And yes, he misses some receivers. There's no doubt. He's Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan, every once in a while had to hit a batter. And it's just the ball and he throws it. You don't get to say this too often about quarterbacks at any level. He can just throw it so hard, even the pros can't catch it.
Right.
But there you were. You said it, though. The run game, the offensive line, everything they did against the Philadelphia Eagles. I was sitting there just going, I was shocked. I can't believe they're doing this, especially against the Eagles defensive line. And last thing, culture, right? Culture.
That word again.
Yeah. And, somebody really close to us, I'll tell you what it said that, hey, Ben Johnson is, people don't understand who he is. And I think we finally saw it. He came in the locker room, pulled that shirt off and everything, and he's into it.
Yeah.
He's got that attitude, and I'm sure he has all the players on the team, Matt, because of the record, how they're playing, they're winning, that, man, they love their head coach right now.
They really do. And he just he has the vibe of just like the evil mad scientist, right? In every superhero movie, right? It's just like, all of a sudden they zoom out and he's just like, he's got that evil laugh going, right? As lightning and thunder strikes, and that's just kind of the vibes I get from him. But, there they are making the great play right with the strip there on the tush push there late in the third quarter. They get the fumble, it recovers, still makes me think about what happened in the New York Giants game a few weeks earlier. That still disappoints me. But either way, they're able to get the turnover there. And then following that, big guy, this is kind of like where we saw the Bears just like take over the game. 12-play drive, 87 yards. They take off nearly a 7 minutes off the clock. They make it a 17-9 football game. And this is what I love about it, right? Here's the drive for you. 31-yard run, Manungai to start the drive on 1st and 10. 5-yard run by the Manungai. 9-yard run by Manungai. 5-yard penalty. Hey, we're going to run it for a yard. We're going to run it for 9 more. Incomplete pass, complete. 9-yard run, 6-yard run, 5-yard run. And ultimately, they get in the end zone for a 4-yard run at the end. But just like, that's the Eagles defense, man. That's Davis. That's Carter and the interior part of that defensive line. And to rip off a 9-yard run after 9-yard run on that drive, I mean, the 31er to start it, it just goes to show you that Ben Johnson, he's creating phenomenal angles in the blocking game for this offensive line. And when you watch the film, you do see that. You see a lot of big people moving the other people in green very easily, side to side with their blocking schemes. Really impressive how they built this roster up and this offensive lineup in this season.
Something we don't talk about and say enough. That we're always talking about the quarterback, the receivers, got to get them involved. The offensive line, give them a good game plan. Let them have some angles where I can hit this guy from the side instead of always straight on or whatever. And they're very good at doing that. But on the other side of this game, I'm going to say this about Philadelphia. Their passing offense, watching it, I watched every one of their throws today. Just want to get a feel. And, the word for it is awful. It's awful.
Yeah.
Because the disconnect is between what are you going to do as I throw the ball? Is it a back shoulder? Will you lead him? What's going on? And at the end of the game, when it's over, they throw the ball every down, of course. And all of a sudden I go, you know what they need to do down in Philadelphia? They need to go in the meeting one time and say, men, we're going to throw the damn thing almost every down today. We're going to, every once in a while, let the receivers get a break. We'll call a draw. And the quarterback, we'll get him, whatever, so he didn't make the read every single play. But they don't throw it enough to get into rhythm and to trust each other what the receiver sees and the quarterback sees.
Right.
And, back shoulders, throwing it in front, it's like always it's the wrong decision between the quarterback or the receiver, one of the two.
Right.
And, again, really, really simple stuff. Yes, you need simple stuff, but you got to build on it until you get to things where you can really fool the defense. Move people, shift them, something like that. Very stagnant offense, very stagnant passing game. And the quarterback wasn't throwing it well. The receivers, weren't making the tough catches. Philadelphia, come on, all that talent, just let it go. Quit trying to manufacture the damn game so much. Oh, and by the way, 24-15 is 9 points. 2-point conversion after the touchdown is not going to get it done. So right away, if that doesn't work, Chicago's on the sideline going, whew, man, it takes 2 more drives by them to even win the game. We're cool. Now it takes the pressure off the play caller for the Bears, the players, everything. I don't know if you agree with it or not, but I thought it was a terrible, terrible decision.
Yeah, well, I'm your son, and this is definitely one of the few things that I do agree with you on, and the things that you've taught me that I do approve of, right? And but yeah, I'm with you on that. I think what we saw was the Eagles trying to do exactly what you're saying. They tried to drop back and throw it, as you say. I mean, Saquon only had 13 carries in the game. The other 4 carries of the game were Jalen Hurts himself, rushing for 31 yards. It really just comes down to the fact that the offense isn't designed all that well. They're kind of trying to piece together things that they've done in the past 2 years and kind of make it their own for this season. But a lot of it, I want to say too, is just like the unwillingness by Jalen Hurts to just drop back and go through it and cut it loose. I just feel like, we're seeing that he's just it's just not his style. Let's just face it. That's not his style of play. He wants to throw the one-on-one boundary throw. He wants to throw the one-on-one out route or the go route and take those, right, the sideline throws because they're easy to see and all that. He'll throw that seam to Goddard when it's wide open, but we don't really see him go through progressions and really throw into tight zone windows consistently like some other quarterbacks in the league do. And now without the ability to run the football behind an offensive line, that's one of the better ones in the league. Because of injuries, they're not as good. They can't just impose their will physically on teams anymore. We're seeing some of, I feel like, just the lack of development, right, in this offense, and Jalen Hurts in particular with the passing attack, because now they are forced to, and they're just not used to doing it yet.
Hey, show me a quarterback at this time of the season. How many interceptions does Jalen Hurts have?
That's a good question. I want to say maybe like 2.
It's
like
2.
3.
I think it is 2.
Okay. Let me double check, though, as you're speaking.
You do it. So here we are at this time of the season. So many games have been played already, and you have 2 interceptions. Come on.
Yeah, it's 2.
That tells me you're just not taking any chances. And, when I say take a chance, it's not like, just throw it in between guys and triple coverage. Or no. Just be more aggressive in the pass game. And,
right.
When you're playing constantly. Now, I've said this sometimes to quarterbacks. Cam Ward, I don't care what you do today. Just don't throw an interception and it'll be a successful day. Well, Jalen Hurts is in a different whole category. And, decisions are made and throws are turned down because it's not wide open.
Right.
Man, come on, the NFL. Half the damn catches are contested. These DBs and everybody around. So that's another thing, too. I see him turning down throws and reads. Some of the reads, makes too many reads that I think are wrong. But just some of the decisions, how to throw it and what he does, it's just got to be more aggressive. And look, the only way you get better at throwing is what? Throwing
it.
And do the damn thing in the game and let it go. And worrying about, I've only thrown 1 interception all year. And everybody goes, oh, God, isn't that great? No, it's not great.
Yeah.
It could be if you're Dan Marino or John Elway.
Right.
So I know people are going to take this maybe the wrong way, but, so much is said about what? Well, today he threw 4 touchdowns and it's great. They won the game, but he did throw an interception. And that's the first thing I hear about every guy talking about it. Oh, well, he threw 2 interceptions. Well, put it in context. Is that what lost the game? So,
right.
Okay. All right.
No, it's a great point. It really is. And I think Marcus Mariota last night is a great example of that, right? Throws an interception early on in the football game. But then after that, you're talking about he made a lot of high-level, difficult throws and critical situations while the pocket was collapsing around him. And that's what gave his team and him the opportunity to win the damn game there in overtime, right? And if he just puts a little bit more feathering on the football there in overtime, that 2-point conversion is going to win, right? So I think you're right, though. The recipe for the Philadelphia Eagles, I think, going forward, if they're going to win a Super Bowl this year, it's not because, we all of a sudden we found a rhythm in the running game, right? It's going to be the fact of like, Jalen, you're our star quarterback. We're paying you like it. You got to drop back. You got to take over games for us. You got to cut it loose. And, we'll see if that's the adjustment they make, or they just kind of keep playing this other game that they're pretending to play, right? Which is basically just in this no man's land purgatory where, I don't know. It's like they're trying to please A.J. Brown but Jalen Hurts and like play it careful and not lose the game and all of that. And, you're clearly just not the same team that you were a year ago on either side of the football. And that's why football is awesome too, because this is the roster you got this year. This is the injuries that you have. And now you got to find a way to make it work. But it's really interesting just the year it's been for the Eagles, despite their record and just the conversations that have surrounded them throughout the year.
All right, here we go. If you're running the football like you did last year, then everything I say changes a little bit for the quarterback.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Right.
they're not. And all of a sudden, are they going to start running the football and be like they were last year here right away? You know, everything in the NFL and at all levels, it's a slow build to what you want to get to.
Right.
So the fact that they're not running the ball, they need the passing game to come through, and that's not working as well as it should. So, well, we'll see how it goes. They're still a damn good team. They got a lot of stars on that football team. And, you know, I think you, me, everybody, the public is going, how can they play so bad with all these people who we think really have talent?
And all that being said, you know, still a one-score game there going into the fourth quarter, right? Yeah. Still kind of have the game there, and with a good, you know, if they get the tush push and all that, hey, it changes, right? But just, you know, we've kind of seen too that play as, you know, maybe taking a step back, you know, as far as just its dominance within the league, especially with the injuries they have at the offensive line this year. Another fun fact too that I want to throw at you here, big guy, to go back to the Denver Broncos game. This was their fourth row in a win by 3 or fewer points. They are the second team to ever do that. The first team to do that in NFL history was your 1986 New York Giants when you won the Super Bowl. So Sean Payton was pretty pleased about that. Even made a remark about just saying, hey, that other team was pretty good that did that. So glad to be in that conversation with them. So we'll see, right, if the Broncos can have that same magic that you guys had that 86 season to make it a Super Bowl run for them in Denver.
Well, you got me thinking. I have to think about it later. Four games in a row, is that what you said, that are won by 3 or less points?
That's right.
Okay. All right.
Yep. Denver Broncos and you guys, right, are the two teams that have done that. So pretty good, right? Pretty good company to be in. Yeah.
Not bad.
All right. Well, hey, this is Sims Complete. He's Phil Sims. I'm Matt Sims, part of the Believe Sports Network, brought to you by FanDuel. That was our quick little recap from Black Friday / this past weekend. We'll be back with more action later this week for the upcoming games and maybe some quarterback breakdowns as well. So we'll be back soon. This is Sims Complete. See you guys next time.